Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So today is Saturday, and we're going to have something called Velocity Banking Super Saturday Party in the House. Now, before I actually go into the topic, I just wanted to kind of go over this little poll that I made of what language do you want to learn and that you don't know. Unfortunately, 0% of people want to learn Korean, right? And 43% of people want to learn Spanish. So it seems like there's more demand for Spanish language content than there is in Korean. It makes me sad. Wah wah. That's okay. I kind of know Spanish, but I was just kind of doing some research, and I think the equivalent of Super Saturday in Spanish would be Sábado Gigante. And it's been a show. It's like a variety show that's been around since the 60s. I actually used to watch this as a kid. And then I remember I used to watch this with like Mexican families where I tutored their kids, like immigrant families. And it was great because I'd learned Spanish from them and from their kids as well. But this was back in California, like more than 10 years ago. But yeah, so back to my point. There probably might be some Spanish language content that I might put out. In fact, the only velocity banking content I've seen on YouTube in Spanish has been by this Chinese lady from Venezuela who I think lives in New York. But she talks about how to pay off your mortgage um, fast in Spanish, which is it says velocity banking right here. And who knows? I might instead of calling it Super Saturday, I might call it Sábado Gigante, right? So, all right. So now back to the topic. No Spanish for today. We're going to do it in English. Let's go ahead and open up some spreadsheets and do velocity banking. And actually, before I even get to the spreadsheets, one of the things I want to mention is that if you ever want to go through velocity banking scenarios yourself, go ahead and open up Bankrate. So, for example, just do some random credit card calculations if you want to make up debt to do velocity banking. And the other thing, cool thing too, is that Bankrate has like loan calculators too. So if you want to come up with the auto loan calculator, which I did for this exercise, I always go to bankrate.com. It has the best calculators and interfaces out of all the websites I use, as far as I'm aware. And if you got a better website, put a comment below and let me know. But other than that, let's actually go into the to the topic. Okay. So now let's go ahead and open up the spreadsheet. So we got a spreadsheet right here of three loans: credit card one, credit card two, credit and a car loan, right? And so one of the things that we have to do, what's the first thing we have to do? Let me repeat myself, and this is what I say in every single video that I make about velocity banking. What's the very first thing we have to do when doing velocity banking? No, first thing is we have a budget, right? So budget tells us where our money's going, and we have to list every single debt that we have. Every single debt, we have to list it, right? And then once we paid off our debts, that increases our cash flow. And the whole goal of velocity banking is to control our money and increase our cash flow. So these are three debts that I've made up. Okay. And so another thing you want to do is also calculate your expenses. But what's really important is when you have your debts, you have to list out every single one as its own line item. And then your general expenses, you could just put into like a one bucket. Like this includes your rent, anything non-debt related you put here. So we could just say like this is $1,500. Because to be honest, even if I did a budget, I always randomly go to the grocery store, buy one thing here and there, and I don't really follow my budget to a T. But all I know is that like I do a tally of month to month of all of my debts every single month, and I know that what I'm doing is working or not, right? And so that's really important. So I have general expenses. We'll say we have 1,500, right? And that actually should be in the monthly payment column. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do an actual budget. So what we do is we write income, and then expenses, and then checking savings, right? And then I always like to put the first column as average American. Now you can call it whatever you want, but the concept of the average American is not based on the income that you make. It's based on what you're using as your main operating account. Are you using your checking and savings to pay your bills, or are you using your line of credit, right? So the variable is your income, and the income that you make is based on your personal circumstances. So that this is based on you, and it's also based on how well you negotiate. So think about like Hollywood actors, right? Do Hollywood actors, especially the A-list ones, take any job? No, they know what they're worth. The Marvel movies, they've been tanking lately because I don't know. I think the people in charge thought, oh, we could just, we've been so successful, most successful cinematic universe, and we don't need our A-list actors like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans anymore. But they know when to hold out, right? Like they know, like, hey, if I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, 50 million, I ain't doing your movie, right? So this could actually be 50 million, but we'll just say this is, I don't know, let's just say average household income is probably 5,000. And I said household, right? So it's probably 2 or 3 people because the average household income is around 70, 80 grand. Now, if it's just one person, probably it's going to be 3,000. But you may want to combine income with other household members, especially if they're family, so that you can pay off your debts quicker. And here's the thing: I've talked to some of you, and a lot of you have said, "Well, I can't get my spouse, whoever, on board," right? And that's a shame because if you did, you probably pay off your debts a lot faster, right? But that's not, let's say, a finance math problem. That's more of a relationship or a communication problem, right? Okay, so we'll say this is average American, and then let's just do that expense breakdown that we always do, right? Expense breakdown. And the expense breakdown just lists all of our debts. So let's go ahead and copy some of this information. So we got these 3 debts: credit card 1, credit card 2, and car loan. Credit card 1, credit card 2, car loan. I'm going to take the monthly payments here, right? And we'll do that. Okay. And then we'll just put our general expenses in a bucket. Actually, does this person own a house? We'll say no. Let's just put rent. Now, here's the thing. Even though rent is like in general expenses, I always like to put that in its own category just because everybody knows what they're paying either in their mortgage or their rent, right? They know. Like, I know how much I get in rent as a landlord. I make 2050 a month. I technically make 12 grand every 6 months. I think 12 grand. Now I can't, no, 13 grand and 200. I think that's what it is. Okay, but if I gotten the rent every month, it would be 2050. Now, general expenses, this could be variable too, but we'll just estimate, I don't know, 1500. Might be more, might be less. That inflation's taking over. So let's go ahead and sum this all up. So this would be equal to sum of B7 to B11. Okay? And so now let's go ahead and see how much we have in our checking savings every single month. And that would be about $1,000, which is not that bad for this type of income, right? Now you'll see people who make 8 grand. I talked to someone yesterday who says that he made 8 grand a month and he only has $300, $375 of cash flow a month, right? So it's not about how much money you make after a certain point. It's about how well you manage it. And just putting everything into a line of credit could really mean the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and not, right? So, okay, so let's go back here. Now, how do we know which debts we're going to pay off? And actually, let me go to step 2 first. So, step 2 is we need a line of credit as our main operating account, okay? So what is going to be our main operating account? We could use a credit card, one, two, or we could use a personal line of credit, right? So let's say we went to the bank and the bank said, okay, well, you have good credit, you have decent household income, 5,000 net a month. Let's give you access to a personal line of credit. So let's say the credit limit, and I'm thinking about this on the fly. Usually I use 25 grand. I personally have $220,000 in credit lines, right? Both credit cards, HELOC, personal lines of credit. I got over 220, right? And there's going to be a certain point in my life where that's going to be a little bit, and I'll be like getting like 1 million, 2 million. I don't know. I just have a feeling that I do it because I remember once upon a time, a long time ago, I only had like $5,000 in credit cards, and I was like, whoa, that's so much. And then now I'm like 220,000. Isn't that insane? because that's just somehow, you know, that's just how life is sometimes. Like things that were like a big deal to you, like a couple of years later, it's like, wow, why did I ever think that was like a big deal? You know, it's like if you're a you're a YouTuber, like, and kind of like me, I got 100 subs, and I was like really excited, and now I'm at like 1,000 something, and then like a couple of years later, I'll probably get like 10,000, 100,000, and they'll be like, wow, 100 subs, that's so little. But at the time, it'll seem like a lot, right? I know I'm rambling, but let me get back to my point. Now, we do another column here for velocity banking, and all we're going to do is just restructure our finances so that we're using our line of credit as our main operating account, okay? And it's going to be exact same income. And two things that are really significant. Our checking and savings is going to go to zero, okay? Because what we're going to do is dump our income into our line of credit and then take out our expenses from there, and we're going to make sure that all of our cash flows is used to pay down the line of credit. So our checking and savings should be zero. It's like, what if we have emergencies? We'll just pull out a line of credit, right? Just pull it out, okay? All right, so now this is what we're going to do. Let's say, let me take a look here. How much debt do we have? We have, I'll just say what we have. Okay, so we have about 23,000. No, I'm 23,000. 15 plus 23 is 38,000. So we have $38,000 of debt. Now, let's do this. Let's say we have a $12,000 credit limit. Okay, $12,000. All right. So $12,000 credit limit. You know, again, it depends on what the bank offers you because I have over 220, but not one line is at 220. I think the biggest line I have is about 50,000, which is a home equity line of credit. But again, basically all this means is that you press a button on the bank's website, and then they'll give you up to $12,000 of cash into your checking and savings, right? So if we take a look at this, one of the things we're going to do is transfer some of this debt to that line of credit so we can free up some cash flow. Now, what debts should we transfer? Okay, there's a few ways to do this. So the first way is to do a combination and think about, okay, well, which debt has the highest interest rate, lowest balance, and the the highest payment, right? So anything that satisfies these three, um, definitely going to be transferred to the line of credit. Now, you'll see what I mean by that. Now, another way you can do it is by using what we call the cash flow index formula. Okay? And all it is a simple formula where you take the balance of the loan and you divide it by the monthly payment. So this would be B2 divided by C2, right? Okay? And all it is an arbitrary number where you want to pay off the lowest one first, right? So anything below 50 is equated with inefficiency. That's according to the people who made the formula. Meaning that if you pay off this loan, you get more cash flow back. So for example, let's say I pay off $23,000, I only get $445 back in cash flow. Whereas if I pay off 5,000, I get 166. So it's like getting more bang for your buck, regardless of the interest rate, right? So that's all this means. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But if it doesn't, look up cash flow index on Google and the Wealth Factory website. Okay, so now I have an idea which one I want to pay off first. So this is the lowest amount. So let's go ahead and pay this one off first. Credit card 2. I'm going to highlight credit card 2. Okay, so what's the statement of credit card 2? So this is 5,000, right? So we're going to move this 5,000 here. Okay, so this will be the balance, and then this will be 5,000. All right, so now this is going to be 0. So this is kind of still going to be there. Although, you know, once you pay credit cards, like the monthly payment, the balance does go down. And because the car loan interest rate is not as high as the credit card, it's definitely going to go down after we make a few payments. But let's go ahead and do this. And let's go ahead and do C2 minus C3. No, that's not right. I'm tripping. All right, so now, all right, so now we freed up about $166 of cash flow. Okay, so now let's see at what point we can move this $10,000, because that's the next one we want to move, right, into that line of credit. Okay, So let's go ahead and we'll do this interest and month. So we'll say month, this is month 0, when the first month we do this. And then let's go ahead and pay this off. So what's our cash flow? So let me just do this, cash flow. This will be equals C2 minus C3, 1,288.33. So let's go ahead. Okay, so the basic strategy is you take your entire income, put it into a line of credit, and then take your expenses out. That's all it is. And then you use your cash flow to pay down the debt. So equals G2 minus 1,288.33. La 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 la. Okay, so now let's go ahead and figure out how many months it's going to take. 2, 3, and calculate the interest. Again, we're doing this kind of wrong because we're not. Usually when you calculate the interest, well, not usually, always, you kind of, it's added to the balance statement balance, right? But just to make my life in math a little bit easier, I'm doing it separately. Okay, so what you do is you take the previous month's balance, and that's actually not true because you're supposed to do the average daily balance of the previous month, multiply it by 0.15, which is the interest rate right here, and then you divide by 12. All right, divide by 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and sum this up. So the sum button is right here. And so now, and let me actually do currency here as well. Currency. Okay, so now we pay about $153, and it takes us about 3 months to pay this off, right? So $153 of interest. So let's actually write our results for each debt that's paid off. So 153 in interest and 3-month payoff for this $5,000 credit card too, right? So now we've done that. Now one of the things that we can do is move this $10,000 balance for credit card 1. Now here's the thing, after we pay it off 10 months, it's not going to be exactly at 10,000. Some of this is going to be chipped away. I'm a little bit too lazy to do the actual math to figure out how much is going to be chipped away, so we'll just still say it's 10,000. That's like an interest-only loan. Again, that's not realistic, but I'm a little bit too lazy to do the math. So let's just do $10,000, and then now let's look at our new cash flow. So when we move it to the line of credit, this essentially becomes 0, right? So our new cash flow is $1,555. All right, now let's see how much it takes off to pay this sucker off. And you heard me, I said sucker. All right, so now G2 minus 1,555. All right, blah, blah, blah. All right, so now, we'll say this is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then let's calculate the interest, which is, we'll overestimate by taking the previous month's balance, multiply by 15%, divide by 12. And then we're going to go ahead and sum it up. Whoopsie, I don't want the average. No, thank you. I want the sum. All right. So we got the sum right here. And that's $466.81. And how many months did it take to pay off? 6 months. So again, if our cash flow is 1,555 and we just add it here, like at the end, which is not how things are done, it's just an easy way to estimate. And I probably should make videos where I do it accurately. I've only made one video where I did it accurately, and I took like the average daily balance and just kind of made it up. But this is going to take us about 6 months and $466.81 payoff. So let's go ahead and do that. So this will be 6 months, and then this will be 466 in interest. Okay, so now here's the thing. Now y'all might be wondering, like, oh, what do we do with this car loan, right? Because that's like the last thing. So after about 9 months, this is going to be chipped away. So this is paid off, and then now we have to tackle the car loan. So let's do this. Let's figure out after 9 months what the actual balance of the car loan is, okay? So the way we do that is we actually have to go to Bankrate and look for If I can't find it here, I'll just do a quick Google search. Oh, we got auto loan calculator. All right, cool. So now what's the auto loan? The auto loan is 23 grand, right? 23 grand. 60 months. I don't usually change this, and 6% interest rate, which is what I assume. And then what we do is we look at the amortization schedule, right? So what we do is, let's start this at January because it's much easier to read the chart, is we look at the balance after 9 months. Okay, so that would probably be, hold on, let me just 1 second. So that would probably be, so this is month 10, so let's go back here. So this will be the 10th month, and what's the balance here? So 19,973. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that. So one of the things so at this stage, we're at 19,973. That's the balance, right? So we have a $12,000 line of credit. We can transfer this 15,000, I'm sorry, this 12,000 into from here to here. But actually, am I even showing it, or am I just showing the website? Oh, let me go back. I'm sorry, I'm new to all this OBS stuff, and I realize I'm not showing what I was supposed to show. But okay, so here we have 19 grand in our car loan at this time after 9 months, right? 19 grand, or almost 20 grand. Now, do you replace, if we only have a $12,000 credit limit, is it necessary to use the entire credit limit to transfer from the loan to the line of credit? I don't think so because of the higher interest rate. So it doesn't make sense to move the entire thing from the loan to the line of credit given the lower interest rate. So one of the things you can do is just do called chunking. So basically you're attacking the principal, right? So in little chunks, and you're going to pay it off quickly and still maintain your liquidity. Okay? So now what we can do is just kind of move this and oopsie, 12,000. That's there. Okay. So what we can do is move this 19,000 to the credit line in $5,000 chunks. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So $5,000. Now, why $5,000? I think the optimal amount that you would move a loan to a line, especially if you're doing little chunks, is about your paycheck. I'd have to check on that, but I think that's the case from my last recollections. But we'll do 5,000 here, and then we'll do G2 minus 1,555, which is our cash flow. And how long does it take to pay this off? So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And then what we do is just take the previous month's balance, so that'll be G2 times 0.15 divided by 12. Okay, let's go ahead and sum this up. So about $133 of interest in about 3 months to pay off. Hold on, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so about 3 months to pay off $5,000. Now, assume we multiply it by 4, then it'll take us about a year to pay off $20,000. Does that sound right? Take a year to pay off $20,000. So if I move $5,000 from here to here, so we'll just say that this is $20,000 just because it's a little bit easier to imagine. We move it to the $5,000 to a line of credit. We pay off each $5,000 in about 3 to 4 months, right? 3 to 4 months, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to divide this number divided by 5,000, which is 4, and then we multiply it by the number of months it's going to take. So 4 times 3 is about 12 months. So 12 months, right? So 12-month payoff. And if you want to get the total interest, that's multiplied by 4 as well. Okay? So $533.50. 12 months. Bam. To pay this off, right? So now what we do is just kind of take this and we do this. So 533.5 in 533 in interest and 12-month payoff, right? So we do 0, and now we have an actual $2,000 cash flow, and we've paid off all our debt, and we're good because now we're gonna have an extra $2,000 in our checking account, and that's awesome, right? Okay, so now we've done that. Now what do we do? Party? Super Saturday? Sábado Gigante? Right? I don't know what else to do if we're debt free. Maybe we experience the boredom of life of not living paycheck to paycheck. That would be awesome. But let's actually sum the results up. So let me just do this. Equals 466 plus 153 plus 533. So that's $1,502 of interest, and it took us about 9 plus 12. So 9 plus 12. I'm screwing up. 9 plus 12 divided by 12. 1.75 year of payoff, right? So to pay off all this, which is really good, right? So how much debt did we pay off? Let's take a look. We paid off $38,000 of debt in about 1.75 years. And all to, the interest we paid only from the line of credit. Again, this isn't talk about all the other car loan, the actual loan interest will probably be a little bit more, but only take us 1.75 years for 38K of debt. Whoa, look at that. That's awesome. So that is a super Saturday, right? And I'm spending all with all you beautiful people. Okay, all right. So this is Crane Atlanta Mentorship. Hope you had fun. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Otherwise, have a great day and have a happy Saturday, Sunday, weekend. Every day is a fun day here. All right. Have a great day, everybody.